If you're a business owner, you know these sounds mean sales. And from the sound of it, your business is growing. Whether you're fulfilling orders from your home office or warehouse, Stamps.com helps you stress less about mailing and shipping and spend more time doing what you love most. Listening to ASMR. I mean, growing your business. But as you grow, so does the need for efficiency. Stamps.com simplifies your shipping and mailing process. Import orders from wherever you sell online. Find the lowest rates with the fastest delivery times. Instantly deliver tracking updates to your customers. And buy shipping and mailing supplies when you run low. Save time and money on mailing and shipping. Get started at Stamps.com today with code PROGRAM for a 4-week trial, free postage, and a digital scale.
Hello, Cleveland! This is Alan Keller from Too Much Effing Perspective, and welcome to Quick Taps, short episodes with short stories for short attention spans. Our theme today is bad opportunities, when our guests' big breakthroughs turn into womp womp, spinal tap moments. Our first story is from Allison Schneider, head of TV music at NBC Universal. Allison tells us about the time she found out cruising around with big star Alex Chilton isn't as much fun as she thought it would be.
A few years ago, I was in New Orleans for ProMax, which is this conference that happens for promo and marketing professionals. And a buddy of mine had been in touch with Alex Chilton from Big Star. And so he's like, hey, Allison, I've been in touch with Alex and I think I'm going to have dinner with him. Do you want to go to dinner? And I was like, yeah. So apparently Alex didn't have a car. So Alex rented a car, and he comes and he meets us at his favorite Italian restaurant in the French Quarter. And we have this great dinner with him, and he's so quirky. And I'm like, just can't believe that I'm sitting across from Alex Chilton and hearing his stories. And then he's like, hey, you guys want to cruise around and I'll show you New Orleans. I'll show you it from my perspective, because he was living there at that time. And he takes us by BB King's house, which is really cool. And it says like BB in big letters. And then he starts going into this really funky, kind of not great area. And he's going down this dark street and kind of dilapidated houses. And he pulls over and he parks. And we're like, okay, well, what's going on here? And he's like, I just got to tell you guys, there's this woman and she's married, and I'm like really into her, and she's young, and, I'm enamored of her, and we've been talking a little bit here and there. And he's like, that's her house across the street. So we sat there for like 15 minutes stalking this woman across the street who was married. And then at the end, he's like, okay, well, hey guys, this has been great. We'll call it a night. And he took us back to the hotel and dropped us off. And that was it. It was like stalking women with Alex Chilton.
And our next Spinal Tap moment comes from LA Weekly's 2018 Pop Artist of the Year, Fiona Gray, who grew up in the wonderful world of Scientology. Fiona tells us the story about the time her mom, actress Kathy Schenkelberg, thought she was auditioning for a role in some Scientology commercial. Instead, Kathy was auditioning for something even weirder.
I was born into Scientology, and my mom was, a very successful voiceover actress. And she thought it was just like any Scientology audition, because there was a ton of Scientology TV ad spots where you would act out different scenarios. She thought going into it was just another one of those like acting opportunities. And she walks in and, they're having the very normal before you audition conversation. And one of the questions was, what do you think of Tom Cruise? And my mom, she goes, I don't know. I kind of think he's a jackass and a narcissist. And she walks out, and there's another actor friend that she knows. And she asks my mom, how did it go? An audition to be Tom Cruise's girlfriend. And my mom had no idea. And she goes, I don't think I got it.
And our last Spinal Tap moment comes from Babes in Toyland bass player Maureen Herman, who got a chance to interview a couple rock legends for Musician Magazine, only to find out it wouldn't be a stairway to heaven.
Musician Magazine calls and offers me associate editor. And it was just like, holy shit. One of my first assignments was to interview Jimmy Page and Robert Plant about their new album, Walking into Clarksville, or whatever it's called. And I thought, you know what? Well, I do have an in because they recorded it with Steve Albini. So that's perfect because then I can make it more appealing to a younger crowd. And, I know stuff about that and whatever. So I go to New York to interview them. They pay for the flight and everything. The night before the interview, I go to Max Fish, where I used to drink in New York City. And I got really drunk. And I got so drunk that I lost my purse. My purse had all my interview notes in it, my ID, my makeup, my money, everything. I was the first interview next morning at 9 a.m. They were going on a transatlantic flight, like they were landing and coming right to do this thing and take care of it. So they'd been up all night, kind of like me. I looked like shit. The stores weren't open yet. And it was just like, oh my God. And I couldn't remember all the fucking questions. So I'm just like, just ask them about what it was like to record with Steve and just let it flow from there. 2 questions in, I asked another thing about recording with Steve, and Robert Plant snapped, is this an interview about Steve Albini or us? Fuck. What a train wreck. Oh my God. And they just hated me. And I felt so stupid. I ended the interview early. I almost had nothing. And this was a cover story.
Speaking of opportunities that didn't turn out to be so great, I remember I was asked to attend an animal rights event in LA all about shutting down puppy mills. The guest of honor was Priscilla Presley, and we were all really excited to hear her talk, until she got on stage and admitted that she feels just as bad for puppy mill puppies as she does for other dogs, and that she bought animals from puppy mills all the time. She basically kept them in business. Everyone was like, what the fuck? I guess she's just a hound dog after all. Anyway, if you like today's TMEP Show Quick Tap, drop us a line at hello@tmepshow.com and tell us. We'd love to hear your feedback. Tune in next week for our year-end episode when I, my co-host Alex Hoffman, and our producer Gretchen Kilby pick our all-time favorite Spinal Tap moments from the TMEP Show. See you then.
Although it would be as great as having armadillos in our trousers, this podcast is not affiliated with This Is Spinal Tap, and no person or entity connected with the film has sponsored or endorsed its content. This podcast is not affiliated, sponsored, or licensed by Authorized Spinal Tap LLC or Century of Progress Productions.
Too Much Effing Perspective is a Milwaukee Talkies original.
Evergreen Podcast Network.